And good morning at 7:03 on this Thursday, July 23rd. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is a Thursday morning. It's cloudy and overcast today. I did park for the rest of the week, but maybe a little rain, more rain in our life today, but who knows? We'll wait and see. We're on the air for Bates Ford, 1673 West Main in Lebanon, the dealer that'll trade for anything it don't eat. We've got Paul, we got Ronnie here today, our Bates twosome, and welcome to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to see you. And Paul, of course, is the dealer operations manager. Ronnie Kelly is in sales. And Ronnie, you probably, I would just guess, you're one of the best known. Your name stands out as when we think of car sales in Lebanon and Wilson County. Your name would have to be up there. If it's not at the top, it's close.
Yes, a lot of people know me because I've been there for many, many years, and that's a good thing. And when you're treating people right and try to do the right thing, and you know, try to put a good name out there, and I've been with Bates Ford for many, many years, and like Paul always say, we're a family, and we all work together. And the name is out there because you know they hear good things about us, and we build up each other.
Yeah. Well. What do you got for us today, Paul?
We got some great things going on at Bates. We've got, service is absolutely swamped, busy. Got some deals going on some vehicles. I purchased a black Widow truck this week. That's a pretty jacked up black F-150. It's got like 200 miles. A gentleman passed it, bought it at another local dealership, and his wife called around, and we ended up purchasing that. We're starting to trickle in some new vehicles. We've got, it seems like the factories are getting some vehicles out to us. So we've got a lot of good things going on at Bates.
Well, you certainly do, and I think if you drive down West Main Street or towards town or away from town, either one, to the north is Bates Ford, and you usually have a lot that's just pretty much running over with cars.
Yeah, we try to keep it. It's really been tough during this time of the craziness going on with the factory shutting down, and then people really don't think about this, but the plants that make the parts to make the cars shut down, so you can't get parts to make a car, so you don't have cars. And then, of course, the auction shut down because of the distance. You can't have so many people. So it was really, at times, it kind of looks a little bare than we would like. But we've done everything to try to keep as much inventory up as possible. We've said always, if you got anything you'd like to get rid of, whether it's a boat, camper, four-wheeler, golf cart, lawnmower, it don't matter. Tony loves any of that, but we'll trade for that. Or if you got a car you want to sell, that's what happened with this woman. She had heard about that we would purchase vehicles from individuals, and she had it's a beautiful 2019 F-150s, loaded out, leathers, got the little black Widow on the seats and on the badges on the vehicle. But she heard that we would purchase vehicles from individuals, and she came over and we checked and told her what we'd give for it, and she brought us the title, and we purchased it. So,
so it's there for somebody else now?
I've had several calls about it. It's a beautiful truck, black on black.
You like it, Ronnie?
Yes, sir. Showed it one time already, and I hope the guy come back to purchase it. Like Paul was talking about the trucks, and not only just that, they bought several trucks. Like this past weekend, and one thing that we look at also, and I know Paul and Mike is working hard on getting it done. We got a lot of cars that they purchased, and they can't get them shipped in because the people are, they're charging more money to get them here, and we got customers waiting on them to get, but we're doing the best we can to get them here, and that's why it's great what Paul was talking about. We'll purchase anything, and by buying stuff that's why we had good inventory, and we just been blessed because people trading in, we was able to to retail them.
Are trade-ins more valuable now because of the
absolutely?
Yeah.
It's absolutely. If you want top dollar for your vehicle, now's the time. It's crazy, the pricing and I think the coronavirus has drove things through the roof as far as like you're just getting cars shipped. It's doubled on us. A lot of times we'll purchase vehicles. We look at several different options and auctions, and there's one right down off of in Lebanon between Lebanon and Mount Juliet, but we're liable to be in North Carolina, Detroit, Dallas, Atlanta. I mean, we buy cars all over the country, but you got to have them shipped here. Well, just here within the last month, the price of shipping's doubled. So, you know, you got to look at what it costs to get the car here. Then we have to service it. And like I always say, Mr. Bates will not let us put anything on the lot that's not, you know, been through the shop, make sure everything's roadworthy, make sure the car checks out good, no issues. I mean, that's our main goal, is to make sure we sell quality vehicles. But, you know, we got to get them here. That's the trouble.
I like that word, roadworthy.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Well, I mean, that's our whole thing. Even trades, you know, we try to get all our trades through the shop and make sure that that they check out. But we're not going to just throw something on the lot and not send it through the shop. Make sure that we check it out thoroughly and make sure it's a good vehicle.
Well, we've talked mostly about cars so far, but I think we would neglect our duty here if we didn't mention two other things. One being your oil change.
Mm-hmm. Yep, cheapest in town.
$24.95 for up to 5 quarts. $24.95 plus tax, of course, and you do sell tires.
Yep, and right now Ford's got some great deals going on tires. They've got $70 rebate, and then if you use the Ford service card, you can double your rebate, which you could buy a set of tires and get $140 back. They've got some great deals going on now with brakes. They've got a $25 rebate on brakes, so if you buy a set of brakes, plus they've always got the brakes for life, meaning that if you purchase a set of brake pads, they will supply you brake pads for the life of that vehicle as long as you own it. Now you'll have to pay the labor to install them, but they will give you the brake pads free of charge.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that's a great deal.
I don't know how much they cost. I hadn't done lately, but at least if you got that for life, that's an incentive to come back too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, once they get below a certain measurement, then we send them back to Ford, but it's actually 2. You know, if they're below 2, we replace them free of charge. The only thing you would have to pay, which it's actually like $55 labor to put them on, but the pads are usually like $70. So, you know, you get brakes for life.
All right, all of that waiting for you at Bates Ford, 1673 West Main, the dealer to trade for anything you don't eat. Paul and Ronnie, thanks for being with us.
Yes.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Chris Dowell has made it this morning, and
I appreciate him standing in for me.
We thought Ronnie was going to have to go jump him off. We didn't know if his Dodge truck was going to make it or not.
you started laughing. Did I say something funny or wrong?
Yeah, you did.
What did I say?
I don't know. I just looked at you. You look funny.
Chris Dowell, Fire Chief, member of the County Commission, is here this morning. His usual visit once a month here on the fourth Thursday in this time slot, and we're glad to see you, of course.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
What's in your world?
Same old. Just steady as can be.
Well, good. I want to throw something else out to start with this morning, because you told me, if it wasn't the last time, when the last time or 2 or 3 you've been here, you were going to have a part as far as Lebanon High football goes. What's the latest on that? Is anything happening yet?
Well, yeah, it's been happening. The guys, the coaching staff and all of them, they've been up there and been working out with the kids and all of that stuff. Especially, you know, they really picked up right here after a dead period. And, of course, all the new laws and stuff that, you know, you got to abide by now. They've been, he sent out some texts and emails and all of that stuff yesterday or the day before that you got to get all that stuff done. So,
well, what is different?
well, I mean,
do you wear a mask? How can you play football and
well,
no,
but you social distance and things of that nature. You wipe down, you clean, and all the stuff that technically, except the social distancing or whatever, they've been cleaning every day anyway. You know, Chuck, he's a stickler for stuff like that. And of course, you know, it's not about, well, it is right now about the virus that's going around and all of that stuff, but there's so much, I guess you'd say, nastiness in a football locker room. It's not just high school, but it's college, I'm sure, and it's probably the pros too. So just some extra policing, I guess, around there to keep things clean.
Can you spit?
Huh?
Can you spit?
Well, you probably won't spit outside. I mean, you don't spit in your house, do you?
No, that wasn't what I meant. But I mean, baseball. They say baseball is scratch and spit. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you're not gonna look. Here's the thing that you can teach kids to do a lot of stuff, and you can show them a way to do it. But just like you can't take I'm born and raised in the country, and you're never going to take that away from me. So,
Can't take the
boys,
country out of
that's
the
right.
ball.
When you step on the baseball field, I'm sure they're going to probably have, spitting going on and all of that stuff. So, you just got to be cautious with that and handle it the best way you know how.
Well, as of right now, we just don't know how many games or when it's actually going to start. Is that right?
Well, I mean, that is true, but here's the way I look at things going in. I'm looking at it just like I was last year. I'm going to a football game. Until they tell me no, that I can't go, then we'll change then. But I don't worry about what's going to happen in the future. I'm for today and tomorrow. You never know. Might not even make it to the season.
Yeah. Well, have you been attending some?
No.
No, not at all. You have.
No, I've been too busy doing other stuff, and he understands that. And of course, now a side note, I'm not a full-time coach up there anyway. I mean, that was last year, so this year I'm just an associate. I go up there and talk to them. There's several kids on there that I know.
You are a morale booster, though, aren't you?
Oh yeah. I try to get them riled up and then leave. It's like the granddaddy. You go in and they come over to your house and you get them riled up and then send them home. So that's basically what I do.
Well, anyway, just thought I would ask, but you have you have given quite a bit of your time, really, to, if nothing else, taking some of them to and from practice and this sort of thing, and encouraging and all that. You've played a part in the success of the program here in the last few years.
Right. I mean, and so, but it takes everybody. I mean, he's got, I don't know, I think it's 13 or 14, just like any other high school coaches up there, and they all are doing their part too. So I ain't doing anything special.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about what's happening with the fire department, I guess, after we go to a break. Chris Dowell, our fire chief, is here. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And now at 7:16, let's see what's happening on the roadways. I want to thank Bates Ford and the low price tire guarantee on all tires every day. Up to 30 days after the sale, there'll be any competitor's pricing on the tires they sell. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Watching traffic build down Ellington Parkway right now, all the way from the top to the bottom as they wrap up that crash south Nashville at Harding Place at Harding Mall Drive. Traffic still looks pretty good right now on 24 up through Rutherford County as you come through Brentwood, Franklin, through Williamson County. That's on the increase northbound especially. Bars Music City Soul Food is now open behind the Bank of America on Nolensville Pike at OHB. Log on today for the lunch menu, barsmusiccitysoulfood.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
This is Glenn Denton, candidate for school board, Zone 5. I'd so much appreciate your vote. I believe in loyalty to all, that I will represent you uncompromising. Opportunity for all. I will stand for our teachers and for our employees, and I will see that they're treated fairly. Responsibility above all. People will be held accountable for the things they do. I encourage you today that if you will make the change, I will do my best to make the difference. Vote Glenn Denton for school board, Zone 5, paid for by Glenn Denton for school board, Zone 5.
The weather's heating up, and so are the deals at Bates Ford. Hey, this is Paul from Bates Ford, and we got some great deals for you. We got 0% interest for 72 months on most vehicles. We've got rebates up to $10,000, and on the service side, we've got tires with $70 rebates. We've got the Works vehicle package for the low price of $49.95, and also the cheapest oil change in town, 5-quart oil change for $24.95. So come see us at Bates Ford, 1673 West Main Street, the dealer that will trade for anything that don't eat.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us here on a Thursday morning. Chris Dowell, our fire chief, is here. What are you doing as fire chief right now? It is the good old summertime. I guess you fight a fire every once in a while.
Yeah, well, I mean, the alarm calls, medical calls, the virus calls, you name it, we've been doing it. We're still wetting down kids, though. We keep our distance, wear our mask, and you cannot take, what a kid is used to. And so we tried to oblige by, that. And until they
where do
tell
you
us
do
no.
that?
Wherever they call and want us to go. We've been to daycares, we go to kids club at schools and things of that nature. So, you know, it's just one of those things. You try to keep it as close to normal for a kid. They don't understand, so you try to keep it as close to normal for a kid. You know, like today, I think it's Empower Me Day Camp. We go out there and water down, you know, and the guys love it. Guys at Fire Hall look forward to it. Yeah. So, you know.
Well, I'm gonna give you an opportunity here.
You always do.
No, I had a gentleman here one time who was a fireman and a policeman back in the day, you know, a few years ago, and he was telling me how much people love the firemen and how much they don't like the police.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's an old, I guess what you'd say, an old tale that was. And firemen and policemen go back and forth, but here's the whole kicker to it. That's probably the truth, but it's probably not so much in Lebanon because they do just as much over there on the police. I can't even believe I'm saying this.
I can't either.
But they do so much over on the police side, as far as public goes and all of that stuff. That you know they're well liked, you know, in our community or whatever. And so, you know, when all of this stuff come out, there was people marching and tearing up stuff in other cities and all of that stuff, and you know, was against the police and all that. I've got several friends over there, and they're black, they're white, they're Asian, they're Hispanic. It doesn't matter. Of course, like I say, I'm gonna bring it up once again, and everybody, if they was raised like I was or where I was in Tucker's Crossroad, you don't see no color.
Yeah,
you know, so that's just the way I look at it.
Well, really, I mean, policemen, they have to write a ticket if you're speeding, excessively speeding, and then all of this, or you're doing something else that's wrong. You don't make many arrests, maybe almost none as a fireman. I don't know what you might get on somebody for burning when they're not supposed to. But
right.
You're not out here. You're not. It's just a different mental approach or mentality, policemen and firemen, I think, because of that, because of their responsibility.
I guess it is,
and
but
you put out fires. I mean, that you're helping.
The only reason why people like the fire department is because we can't give you a ticket. I mean, you just said it all in a nutshell right there. If you're not speeding, then you ain't got to worry about the police giving you a ticket.
That's true.
If you ain't doing nothing wrong, you ain't got to worry about the police doing anything to you, arresting you or nothing. So it's just as simple as that.
Oh, what? Some are really when you got people at the fire halls. They are on for 24 and off of 48. I believe
Right.
That's pretty much it if you're a fireman.
Right.
Some are any different really from the other time.
Well, I mean, you got vacations and things like that. So summertime, I guess what you'd say the overtime kicks in. If you don't have enough to accommodate, then you got to call somebody in, and they've got to get their time in. So we use a lot of overtime in the summertime. Plus, you know, you got the fair going on, so you know that's that. But we don't try to do hardly nothing in the summertime, especially when it gets this hot. Because I mean, the worst thing you want to happen is to get out and you're in this heat all day long. The next thing you know, you have a fire at night. So I mean, you're spent pretty much. You're spent. So. It's just one of those things that you just have to monitor.
How's your new fire engine?
It's good. I mean, we've got it up and running, and they loaded everything
Your fan
in it.
Club,
Yeah, dang, I can't even see who it is, but I'm gonna drop it on the floor. It's somebody. It's 3 on there. Put it that way. But we've got it up, and it's online and running now. We're still loading equipment on it, getting it placed where we want it, and all that stuff. So.
There's a lot more to getting one than first meets the eye, isn't there?
Oh yeah. There's so much stuff that we got to go through. You got to wait first of all, you got to wait like 10 months, a year and a half. Like its last one was a year and a half to get it, and then once you get it, you know, the guys think, okay, put some diesel in it and let's go, but you can't do that. You know, you gotta. The shop has to come, you know, go up. You have to take it over there. They get the filters. They get everything they need to service that piece of equipment. And then we start loading stuff on it. And then we get tags for it. And after that, the insurance and all of that stuff is squared away, and we stick it out there, and then we start working out the bugs. Because even a new vehicle is always going to have some bugs that you got to work out.
But it is a new piece of equipment, and those who are going to get to operate it, it's like a new baby or something.
Oh, it's like it's not a baby; it's a new toy.
Okay.
You know, that's the way they look at it. It's just another. It's a tool in their I guess pocket that they can use. You know, and so
haven't always been chief when you got a new fire engine back when you was one of them. Why, you probably felt the same way.
No, I never did get one.
Oh.
So yeah, I never did get a new one. So I don't know what they feel like. And so, but when I made fire chief, I got my first new one, and I was on cloud nine. Of course, you know, hey, look, be careful. I didn't want nobody walking around. They had to stay back 5 foot to walk around it. You know, so
well, it has been pretty hot, but it hasn't been. I don't think we've set any records. We hadn't been, but maybe once or twice. We've gotten into the high 90s a little bit, and it's hot enough. But I remember a few years ago, 108 degrees last June. Remember that?
Yeah, but I mean, those days are still ahead of us too. You think about that? Yeah, we still got some stuff burning. You know, the skin.
Well, what about burning permits and all that? We could talk about that a minute. Is it okay to burn now?
Yes. Well, it's okay to burn all year long as you get a permit and we come check it out. The county,
there are times when you won't issue a permit. When it gets bad enough.
Oh, yeah, when it gets windy or if it gets too dry, then yeah. But, man, the last 2 or 3 nights, and of course it's not all over Lebanon, but, you know, I've got a monsoon at my house, you know, and so it's been good. And then before that, it was getting it on other parts of town, and I wasn't getting any. Yeah. And there had a lot of cracks in my yard. So it's equaling out.
You got a garden at your house?
Nope.
Nope.
Kroger does, though.
Well, I thought living out in the country, maybe you got enough of this when you were growing up.
Oh, yeah. Lord, yeah. I mean, it was tomatoes, cucumbers, and all kinds of stuff, corn. And I still like to go and act like I'm visiting some of the folks out there in Tucker's Crossroads. And when they go in the house and say, okay, we'll see you later, I just go to their garden. So, but squash and things of that nature.
We had a county commission meeting Monday night. Did you do it on online or virtual, or were you there?
No, I'm going. I mean, you know, I ain't trying to knock it.
Courthouse.
Yeah, I was at the courthouse. So
15 of you there, I believe, and 10 at home.
I don't know how many it was. Just know
that's what Mike Jennings said.
Right.
I'll take his word for
yeah, well, yeah, Mike. I mean, I didn't. Like I said, he's probably right. I didn't count them, so I know I was there. I mean, to each his own. I'm one of the ones I like to be in person. I mean, you know, and I'm one of those ones that I guess, you know, I'm not a rebel or nothing like that right there, but yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well, we talked about a couple of resolutions. One is the Kiwanis Day of Prayer, which is pretty much a formality for you to approve of and encourage, of course. And
right.
Eddie Callis will be here tomorrow in the second half to talk about that. But you also honored Jack Cato, who just turned 90, I believe.
That's right.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Do you know Jack?
I do.
Well, I think,
and you know, in the buildings you look around town, I think everybody knows Jack. So
he's done well.
He's done real well.
But in my opinion, and I said this 2 or 3 times, and even when I wished him a happy birthday on Facebook, I said the same thing. He's a great American.
He is. He really, really is. And so one of the pioneers is what I always called him. So. But yeah, he's got some stuff here, you know, some big build. I guess he might be one of the first ones to start throwing up these big buildings. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple of minutes left. Anything else on your mind this morning?
Well,
you hiring anybody right now?
Well, we're in the process right now of doing interviews for 3. We got 3. Technically one went back into the armed forces or whatever and took a job on with them. So. And then a couple of them decided they was going to go another route and heating and air and things of that nature. So we're hiring 3.
What do you look for?
The best applicant.
Well, but I mean, I don't think everybody's cut out to be a doctor. Everybody's not cut out to be a policeman. Everybody's not cut out to be a fireman.
And that's true. That's true. But yeah, they'll figure it out real quick when they have to go over there and do those weeks in bell buckle. Knock on wood. I don't think. I guess probably out of the 60 that has come across and that I've hired over the years. Of course, retirement and all of that stuff. You got to replace them. So over the years that I've hired, I don't think there's probably been maybe 3 or 4 that was not bad hires, but it just wasn't for them. You know what I mean? So there's a certain
I mean, with your experience and interviewing somebody and talking to them, getting to know them a little bit, I would think have a pretty good idea of whether they're going to be a fit or not.
Well, that's true, but I mean, you get to talking to them, you got to be a people's person. So I mean, we do a lot of medical, and you got to be a people's person. I'm not looking for one to go out and show me that you can put out 4 house fires in one night. I ain't looking for that. I'm looking for that personality too. It's got to be a fit. So I don't want no problems. Once I hire you, you better fit in, or you won't get in.
Is it too late to apply?
Yes, this one has closed.
Oh, okay. All right.
This
So
one
you've
has
got
closed.
a pool to choose from then.
Yeah, what they're going through right now.
Okay. All right. Well, we've come to the end of our time here this morning.
I got one more thing.
One more thing.
Continue to pray for Eddie and Miss Jocelyn Conrad.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
They
They
had
had
a
to
bad wreck
yep.
night before last, I believe.
Yep. And so, we need to pray as much as possible, direct our prayers towards them.
All right. Well, thanks for mentioning that.
Yes, sir.
And thanks for being with us. Chris Dowell, our fire chief. And that is part 1 of Coleman and Company. Keep it here for more. FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:31. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Absolute Kubota and Rental Exmark. Large inventory of Exmark mowers for homeowners and commercial users. #1 selling brand by 2-to-1 over any other commercial mower brand. 1325 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic's on the increase, even more so here by the airport through Hermitage, Donaldson, making your way on I-40 going westbound as they wrap up that crash south Nashville, Harding Place at Harding Mall Drive. It's really picked up in the last 10-15 minutes out here on 40 eastbound up by 840. You got all that traffic flow coming out of Dixon County headed towards West Nashville. For the perfect getaway just outside Gatlinburg, check out Cosby Creek Cabins. Log on to CosbyCreekCabins.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
71 degrees all the way.
73 degrees, please.
So, what's your perfect degree of comfort? We'll help you find it with professional Rheem HVAC service that'll keep your home comfy year-round, save on energy costs, and may qualify for utility rebates and tax credits. So enjoy a new degree of comfort.
72 degrees, and I'm good to go.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
Showers and storms are in the forecast today. A few could be on the strong side, so stay weather aware. Temperatures this afternoon will top out in the low 90s. On Friday, more scattered showers will be moving through the area, so you may want to pack the rain gear. Highs on Friday will climb into the low 90s. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty. Professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist TJ Scott.
And we welcome you to part 2 of Coleman and Company. It is a Thursday morning. Thursdays at this time we talk about the Pavilion Senior Living here in Lebanon, and with Heather Sadler, who is the marketing director. Heather's on the phone this morning, and we're going to talk. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
You doing okay?
I'm doing perfectly.
Well, we're glad to hear that. The Pavilion Senior Living, located on Medical Center Drive, 1409 Medical Center Drive here in Lebanon. And Heather is the marketing director, as I've said, and she tells us about it each week at this time. So what's the latest?
Well, I feel like I have to give a COVID update every week. So we are still COVID-free in all of our communities, so especially our 2 here in Lebanon. So we are doing weekly testing of our staff, and those have been negative. And, of course, every week you get your results, and it's a sigh of relief till you got to do it again in a few more days. So it's just a protocol that we put in place the state has required us to do.
What kind of testing do you do?
We did a nasal testing.
Okay.
It's a nasal COVID testing on all of our staff.
Is that
Our rehab building.
something they look forward to, right? I'm being facetious.
Not really, but we haven't had much pushback. At the end of the day, we're trying to protect residents. And,
well, it's really good to be able to report that you're COVID free and had no positive results there. They've all come back negative, and I know you want to keep it that way.
We would like to, but we also are ready to open our doors and receive visitors. And yesterday we had a miniature horse come visit all our residents through the windows, and so that was a delight. And we also have a system that allows you put on headphones and have a transmitter, and the resident puts on a headphone, and they can hear through the window. So that has been a game changer for us to allow them to have conversations, and then they can see them. So that's a little bit different than just a FaceTime video when they're holding a screen, but they can see them through their window. So we've really utilized that. We saw it and we purchased it, and it has been. Our activity director has that. She's got it booked back to back. So people can see their loved ones. So that's a cool piece of technology we've purchased.
Well, that's good to hear. You still have some room if somebody wants to come spend some time.
We do. We had a call this week from a guy that said, "I've got to go back to work and I need some help." And that we're getting those, and we understand. And then we're also getting some that said, "I had my parent with me over during the quarantine, and they're going to need more help than I can give them." So, those are life continues to go on, and seniors have needs, and that's what we do. Even in a COVID world, we tried to figure out the best way and the best practices to ensure safety and ensure social distancing and all those things. And those are hard, and I'm not going to say we're 100% perfect at them, but we sure are trying to do that, especially with our memory care. That's a challenge every single day for our staff.
I think we've expressed this before, is trying to make the best of a bad situation, and that's kind of what life can be about when you hit the bumps in the road, making the best of a bad situation.
That's right. My favorite word I've made up during all this is vacasolation. Little vacation with isolation mixed in. So that's what we're calling it when we have somebody in isolation, trying to make it a little special and doing special things for them during their quarantine. And we have to do that to ensure that they don't have any symptoms or signs or anything before they're exposed into our community. So, vacasolation.
All right.
Well, spell that and say that 3 times.
Want to remind everybody you have a website, of course, and people probably find out a lot about you by going to the pavilionseniorliving.com. A lot of information there, and of course they can always give you a call, 615-444-5556, and a lot of people do. A lot of your time is spent on the phone, isn't it?
It is. It's spent on the phone. Unfortunately, it's not sent so much in tours anymore. But give us a call, and we've gotten creative with that too, and we can walk you through and show you anything.
Okay. Well,
about all our services.
That going to do it for this morning?
That's going to do it for this morning.
Well,
same time.
Have a good week, and we'll talk again next week. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good day.
All right, you too. That is Heather Sadler. She's the marketing director for the Pavilion Senior Living at Lebanon, again, located at 1409 Medical Center Drive, and the phone number 615-444-5556. We're 22 before the hour. And Brandon Beller is back to talk about his candidacy for circuit judge. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's nice to see you again, and we appreciate you coming back to talk about your campaign and asking people to elect you to that circuit judge seat.
Well, I'm glad to be here. We've had a lot of success in the campaign trail. We've worked extremely hard. Of course, it's early voting, and I encourage everyone to go out and vote. It's a right that we have, and it's something that There's been a lot of folks that have come out, but we know there's more registered voters than than have voted so far. So,
Well, we have 5 locations here in Wilson County. Philip Warren was with us Monday and went over that. He's talked with MJ numerous times about it's very easy to early vote here in Wilson County. I don't know about the other 4 counties that where you're a candidate, but do they have more than one place in most of those? Or
no, each of the rural counties, Macon, Jackson, Trousdale, and Smith, only have one polling location.
Okay, what is that, their election office or?
Not all of them. Smith County, it's at their election commission. Jackson County at Gainsboro, but Macon County chose the fairgrounds. Trousdale County chose their election commission. So,
okay. But there's one place in each of those 4 counties, and we have 5 here. But we are the larger, by far, I think, the larger populated county.
Correct, and I believe there were 3 at one point, but there was a decision made to add 2 more for early voting, which was pretty good, pretty smart move to do that.
We got Philip mentioned them when he was here Monday. There's one down towards Lakeview School in that area. They have one in Mount Juliet at Charlie Daniels Park, one at Gladeville in Watertown, and of course in Lebanon at the at Philip's office over there, the old post office building.
Correct.
So the early voting numbers that he gave us look good on the start. A lot of people aren't doing that anymore. So that means if somebody's already voted for you, you're but everybody has it, and then you want the ones that haven't voted yet to consider you.
To those that have voted for me, thank you. I appreciate it. For those of you that are still deciding, we're going to talk about that.
Well, let's get on with it here. What you got anything new today, or
no? One of the things that I was just meditating on was just going back to the experience factor. We'd covered that before in previous programs, and one of the things that I think that the general public needs to be aware of is what is required of the office. There's a lot of administrative work that a circuit court judge does, and it's a very vast, broad-based, as we've discussed, areas of the law that you cover. And one of the things we talked about is just in previous programs is my jury trial experience. As we discussed, my opponent does not have jury trial experience, and I do. I think that's an extremely important issue for a qualification for a circuit court judge, because when you get into the jury trials, you're dealing with basically setting up that from jury trials don't just happen. They're not a 15-minute, 30-minute ordeal. They're very time-consuming. There's a lot of preparation that goes into it. Your circuit court clerks and your deputy clerks, your law enforcement, everyone that's associated with it gets these jury trials ready. It's just not just the lawyers and the litigants. So you've got to be able to cooperate with each one of those entities. One of the things that's very helpful, and one of the things that what I've seen from your astute judges is they will sit down and go over the case file before the trial, and a lot of times they'll have a docketing clerk or someone that is there that is specifically designed to assist the court in making sure that all the pleadings are in order, everything is ready for a trial. Of course, one of the things that in having done multiple jury trials, from an attorney's perspective, is being able to make sure you cooperate with the judge and know what the judge's tendencies are and expectations. A lot of judges like to have briefs written prior to the trial, setting a summary of facts, the law, and just having just that your perspective on how the court should rule. But equally important to that is pattern jury instructions. This seat carries both civil matters and criminal matters, and both of which I've got an extensive background in both civil cases and criminal cases. Your pattern jury instructions are based in your experience and your knowledge of the law. And when you put your pattern jury instructions together, it is the instructions that the court will administer to the jury. Well, so why is that so important? It's extremely important because you have to get that right, because if you fail to instruct in an area, it can be reversible error. And we don't want to get all these people together that have had taxpayer dollars and had all these, getting these jury trials together and for one mistake or an error on behalf of a judge, and then it get reversed, and you have to come back and do it again. Mm-hmm. That's the premium I place on the experience in the qualifications, because it's not just making decisions. Well, I can do that. I decided what shirt I wanted to put on today. It's making right decisions, and right decisions come through that experience, that wisdom, that knowledge, those things that are comprised over that 25-year career that I have, and particularly in doing the jury trials.
Well, it is about time for us to take a break. Brandon Beller is my guest candidate for circuit judge, and again, this is for the unexpired term of Judge John Wooten, who retired early. And the election will determine that August the 6th, early voting, which is going on now. We'll take a break and talk more with Brandon in a moment here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:47. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. I want to thank Bates Ford and the low price tire guarantee on all tires every day. Up to 30 days after the sale, there'll be any competitors' pricing on the tires they sell. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic still looking pretty good for the most part out here. It's just now starting to bog down a bit here on 65 southbound at Trinity Lane as they work a crash at the intersection of Murfreesboro Pike and Bell Road out in Antioch. That just happened in the last few minutes, so it's a fresh crash. Traffic still looks pretty good right now on Ellington Parkway, working your way down from the top to the bottom. A Bar's Music City Soul Food is now open behind the Bank of America on Nolensville Pike at OHB. Check out their lunch menu, barsmusiccitysoulfood.com. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
She's taken care of you your whole life. Now it's your turn to take care of her. But with a family of your own and other responsibilities, there just aren't enough hours in the day. That's why it might be time to call the Pavilion Senior Living. From bathing, dressing, housekeeping, and meals, the Pavilion Senior Living is committed to being senior living you can trust for your loved one. Find out more at pavilionseniorliving.com or call 444-5556. That's 444-5556.
This is Glenn Denton, candidate for school board, Zone 5. I'd so much appreciate your vote. I believe in loyalty to all, that I will represent you uncompromising. Opportunity for all. I will stand for our teachers and for our employees, and I will see that they're treated fairly. Responsibility above all. People will be held accountable for the things they do. I encourage you today that if you will make the change, I will do my best to make the difference. Vote Glenn Denton for school board, Zone 5, paid for by Glenn Denton for school board, Zone 5.
It's your first day in business, a new space, real investors, and butterflies the size of dinner plates. For peace of mind, protect your dream and call THW Insurance. Local folks representing quality companies like Westfield Insurance. Whether your business is large or small, contact Lori Carter of THW at 615-547-5632 or stop in and see her at the Wilson Bank and Trust West Main office.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us. If you just tuned our way, Brandon Beller is here, candidate for circuit judge. And this is District 15.
15th Judicial District, correct.
And of course, Wilson is by far the more populated county in the district. But as we said earlier, there's Trousdale, Smith, Macon, and Jackson counties that are involved. So, election on August 6th, which is what, 2 weeks from today?
Oh, it's 2 weeks, 14 days. Goodness.
And early voting is as always, just a period of time. Then there's a break when it ends, a few days there, and then election day comes up. So, what else do you want to address this morning?
One of the things, again, going back to the experience, I think the focus in particularly when you're dealing with judges' races, you want to have the most qualified candidate, the one that's got that experience. I know that in this year we had a political primary inserted into a judge's race, which is something that had never happened before. And of course, I've expressed my views on that. That I certainly, judges deal with matters of law. They don't deal with matters of politics, and I think is something that is, it may be quite a distraction in this in this election, because as far as getting our voice out to demonstrate that I am the most qualified candidate, we even had the bar survey that came out and showed with your lawyers, 75 of the lawyers that took that survey, 71 of them recommended me as your next circuit court judge. Well, that's 95%, and that's something that's a strong testimony. It's evidence, if you will. It's evidence to say that Brandon Beller is the most qualified candidate based on the peer review. And it wasn't just flipping a coin and saying we like him better. It's not about like or dislike. These are your peers. These are people that you contend with in an adversarial role a lot of times.
Most of these people, most of those 75, knew you, had an association with you as a lawyer, in court, this sort of thing, right? I mean,
well, they knew both of us. Okay. I mean, so it wasn't just me; it was both of us. And so of that 71, these peers, being from different counties, Wilson, Smith, Jackson, Trousdale, and Macon counties, they decided that they said, okay, we're going to look at the judicial demeanor of each candidate. How do they conduct themselves? Do you have an explosive temperament, or are you balanced? And so you look at the judicial demeanor and say, we want Brandon Beller, and I received the highest marks in that. Then they look at the category of experience, which is something that I tend to stay on as far as a very strong topic, because that experience, it makes a huge amount of difference. And they said Brandon Beller's the most experienced. And then they went to knowledge of the law. Well, how astute are you as a student of the law, and how learned are you as a jurist? And of course, my background has been extensive amount of trial work, but it's appellate work as well. And there's a lot of my peers, there's times where we have discussions on finer points of law that require the most detailed and analytical minds that you can come up with, because some things are, quite frankly, are very difficult decisions that we have to make. And so you want to bounce those off your peers. But as far as the knowledge of the law, my peers respected me in that area. And again, I got the highest marks. And then the fourth and final category was ethics. Well, ethics simply just deals with, well, as one law professor said, if you don't know what ethics are, then that's your first problem. That's kind of a nice way of putting it. But I received the highest marks in that category as well.
71 out of 75 preferred you because in these four categories.
Yes, sir. And again, that's something that when you receive that, you're honored, because you don't really think about that about yourself, and I don't. I always have a kind of awards and accolades. Those are somebody else's. That's not mine. But that's something that having that, when I first got that, I literally I cried. Yeah. I mean, I did. I was just so honored and humbled by the thought processes that they would recommend me for circuit court judge, because those are the people you're going to have to work with. Those are the people that August 6th comes, August 7th, you're circuit court judge. You've got to deal with the folks that come into that courtroom. And these are the lawyers that represent various individuals, families, churches, corporations, small businesses in the 15th Judicial District. And so there's a certain amount of, the bar has to trust you, because that translates back over to your clientele. I remember with Judge Wooten, it was easy a lot of times because he was so consistent. He was so, I'm not going to say predictable, but consistent. And it got to be where, wow, I know what he's going to do. And I would watch other cases. I was like, I could tell you what he's going to rule on this one. And so there was a certain amount of, you can always go back and tell your clientele, look, this judge will do this. He's consistent. He's going to do this. And so we need to think about how to handle this case in a different manner than what you might be thinking. So it gives you the role of that satisfaction of being able to to counsel your clientele. So there's I want to use the word symbiotic relationship between the bar and the bench. That it's not a good old boy system. It's in order for the system to work, you have to have a certain amount of cooperation. And if you don't have the cooperation, then you can get into an antagonistic scenario that is not good for the people. And that's what the judge is for, to serve the people.
Why are you pursuing this? I mean, you've really gone after this. You've campaigned hard. You've been here a number of times, bought time as you are today. Why do you want to be this judge?
From the very beginning, I was very reluctant. I'll be quite honest with you. I'd had some stirrings about it, and when Judge Wooten, and I really fought that off. And a couple of people came to me and said, "You would make a good judge." I thought, no, I don't want to be judge. But after time and after a lot of prayer and a lot of, you've got to have your family support, and I do. Yeah. And you don't want to do things apart from them. I decided to do it, and I've always held this thought process about what I look at as the model good judge. What is a good judge? Well, a good judge is someone that's fair and impartial. They're not going to decide cases based on external influences. They're going to decide cases based on what they hear, the evidence, what they see as evidence, and apply the law accordingly and make right decisions along those lines. I've always taken that as when I've watched judges that do that, there's a certain I don't know, I want to use the word just personification or just a presence about them of justice, and that when even though you may not have prevailed in your case, when you walked out of that courtroom, you know that judge was fair to you, that they gave you the opportunity to be heard. And I think that's something that is a discipline where over time, and age and experience and hard knocks and things that you go through life, that you become more patient, you become more attentive, you listen and more carefully than you had before, because we're not dealing with, it's not like a baseball game where you call something strike or foul. I mean, that's something that's a game, all right?
Yeah, right.
We're talking about people's lives. Yeah. We're talking about the things that will impact them and affect them through the course of their lives. If somebody's going through a divorce, they're hurting. And you have to consider that. You have to be sensitive to that. But at the same time, you have to follow the law. You have to be patient with a lot of the people, because sometimes arguments break out in the courtroom. And I've always looked at it from the standpoint of there's a certain amount of line that you don't cross. I mean, you can't just blatantly disrespect the rule of law or blatantly defy the court, the honor and integrity of the court or the order in the court. But at the same time, you got to have enough common sense to say, all right, I'm gonna show mercy in this instance because they're hurting. In a personal injury case, somebody that's been devastated, their life, they've gone through horrible things, maybe a debilitating injury. Those are all things that you have to look at. At the same time, someone on the other side says, I'm not at fault. I didn't cause this injury to this person. So you've got two sides that you're looking at, and you've got to be balanced in everything that you do. And that goes back to my fundamental thought process of why I ran as an independent candidate. You don't want to insert anything as far as political value that would cause you to sway or at least appear to sway the integrity of the judiciary, that impartiality that you're supposed to uphold. Now, we've discussed it before, and it's out there. We talked about it. My voting record's Republican. People say, well, why didn't you run under the Republican Party? Well, the answer is what I just gave you. The judiciary does not need to have politics inserted into it, because of someday later on in the line, whether you're Republican, Democrat, doesn't make any difference. Because as we know, the winds of political doctrine shift. And at some point there may come a day where you may not like the fact that a primary is set up, because it may be something that's opposite of your political nature. but you've already established it, and so you can't undo it. It's like the toothpaste out of the tube. You're not going to get it back in. So I tell people, so let's keep our judiciary independent. Let's keep it to where we don't have to deal with these issues ever again.
Got a minute and a half left this morning, so I guess it's kind of time to wrap it up. But again, early voting is going on now. Election 2 weeks from today on August 6th, and Brandon Beller wants your vote.
I do want your vote. I sometimes just I don't know how to ask other than just ask for people's votes. I mean, we've got a Facebook, we've got a website, and there's a lot of material on it. You want to look me up, check me out. I tell people all the time, it's one thing for someone to talk about themselves, but talk to their peers, talk to law enforcement officers, talk to your clerks, talk to people that are in the judicial system, talk to former judges. These are people that have the experience. They've been there. They know what to expect, and they can help you, one way or another, decide on who to vote for. I think as an astute voter, a lot of times we want to investigate our candidates, and I've got some decisions to make in some other races that I've not really decided on yet. So I'm still in that corridor.
All right. Well, you've certainly been visible. You've been here. You're coming back at least one more time. I think I saw that. Next week you're going to be back with us, and we'll kind of wrap it up at that time. But thanks for being here today. And again, Brandon Beller, candidate for the 15th District Circuit Judge seat. And thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And that's going to do it for a Thursday. And until tomorrow, I wish you a tremendous day.